The space around Earth suddenly filled with alien ships. 12,000 vessels appeared out of nowhere like angry wasps swarming from their nest. Each ship was massive and covered in weapons that could destroy cities. The largest ship in the center was bigger than a mountain and had Admiral Thexval inside commanding the entire fleet. Admiral Thexval sat in his command chair looking at the small blue planet below. His 4 eyes gleamed with satisfaction as he studied the primitive world. The Corvan Empire had conquered hundreds of planets just like this one. Their scouts had told him that these humans barely knew how to travel between their own planets. This would be an easy victory. The alien admiral opened a communication channel to the planet below. His voice boomed across all frequencies as he delivered his standard surrender demand. Every species had heard these words before they became slaves to the Corvan Empire. But something unexpected happened. A single human voice responded from a small ship that was floating near Earth. The ship was tiny compared to the massive alien vessels around it. It looked like a metal toy next to real warships. The name Soul's Pride was written on its side in simple letters. Fleet Commander Park Ji-woo spoke calmly into his communication device. He was sitting in his captain's chair wearing a simple blue uniform. His black hair was neat and his face showed no fear at all. Behind him, his crew worked quietly at their stations preparing for what was about to happen. Park Ji-woo looked at the massive alien fleet on his main screen and smiled slightly. He pressed the communication button and spoke in a voice that was steady and confident. "You should wait for our real fleet to arrive," he said simply. The aliens laughed. Admiral Thexval could not believe what he was hearing. This primitive human was telling the mighty Corvan Empire to wait. The alien commander looked at his tactical officer who was shaking his head in disbelief. These humans must be insane, Thexval thought to himself. He decided to teach them a lesson they would never forget. He ordered his ships to begin their attack immediately. The first wave of Corvan ships moved forward with their energy shields glowing bright blue, their weapons charged up with deadly power that could melt through the strongest metals. The alien crews were confident that this battle would be over in minutes. Park Ji-woo watched the enemy ships approach and gave a quiet order to his weapons officer. "Fire when ready," he said calmly. What happened next shocked every alien in the massive fleet. The small human ship Soul's Pride fired a simple kinetic weapon. It was nothing more than a metal rod fired at incredible speed. The aliens expected their advanced shields to stop it easily. Instead, the metal rod punched through the shield like it was made of paper and tore through the alien ship from front to back. The Corvan vessel exploded in a bright flash that lit up the darkness of space. Debris scattered in all directions as the crew inside died instantly. Admiral Thexval stared at his screens in complete shock. His most advanced shields had failed against a primitive human weapon. This was impossible. The Corvan Empire had the best technology in the galaxy. More human ships appeared from behind Earth's moon. There were only 50 of them total, but each one moved with deadly purpose. They fired their simple weapons again and again. Each shot destroyed another alien vessel. The human weapons were not energy beams or plasma cannons like other advanced species used. They were just metal projectiles and nuclear missiles, but they worked better than anything the Corvans had ever seen. Park Ji-woo stood up from his chair and walked to the main viewing screen. He watched as his small fleet systematically destroyed the alien vanguard. His weapons officer reported that they had destroyed 300 enemy ships in the first 10 minutes. The Corvan crews began to panic. Their commanders screamed orders, but nothing they did could stop the human attack. Their own weapons seemed to barely scratch the human ships, while every human shot was a kill. Admiral Thexval realized with growing horror that his massive fleet was being treated like target practice. These humans were not fighting desperately for their lives. They were calmly and efficiently destroying his ships like they were shooting at training dummies. The alien admiral tried to understand what was happening. His scientists had studied these humans for years. They were supposed to be a primitive species that had barely reached their own moon. How could they have weapons that cut through Corvan shields so easily? More explosions lit up the space around Earth as human ships continued their deadly work. The aliens tried to retreat but found that human ships were faster and more maneuverable than their own vessels. Park Ji-woo opened a communication channel to the entire alien fleet. His voice was still calm and confident as he spoke to the thousands of enemy ships. "This is just our local patrol fleet," he said quietly. "The main battle group is still coming. You have about 6 hours before they arrive." The words sent a chill through every alien crew member who heard them. If this small group of human ships could destroy hundreds of their vessels so easily, what would happen when the real human fleet arrived? Admiral Thexval looked at his tactical displays with growing dread. His fleet had lost over 500 ships, and they had not managed to destroy a single human vessel. The metal rods and nuclear weapons kept coming with deadly accuracy. In the distance, more human ships began to appear. They came from the asteroid belt between the inner and outer planets. Some looked like they were built into the asteroids themselves. Others emerged from what looked like empty space. Park Ji-woo smiled as he watched the alien fleet begin to realize their situation. The humans had been preparing for this day for a very long time. Every weapon, every ship, every strategy had been tested and perfected. The fleet commander opened his communication channel one more time. His words echoed across all frequencies as more and more human ships appeared from their hiding places throughout the solar system. "Welcome to Earth," he said with quiet confidence. "We have been waiting for you." Admiral Thexval stared at his screens as hundreds more human ships appeared around his fleet. Each one was armed with the same deadly simple weapons that had already proven so effective against Corvan technology. The alien admiral finally understood that his empire had made a terrible mistake. These humans were not primitive at all. They were apex predators who had been preparing for war while pretending to be weak. The first part of humanity's plan was working perfectly. Engineer Lee Min-ho ran through the metal corridors deep inside Asteroid Base 7. The walls around him were carved from solid rock and lined with advanced human technology. Red warning lights flashed as klaxons sounded throughout the hidden base. For 20 years, Lee Min-ho had worked on this project. He had helped transform hundreds of asteroids into secret military fortresses. Each asteroid looked normal from the outside but contained weapons and ships that could destroy entire fleets. The engineer reached the main control room where dozens of technicians worked frantically at their stations. Captain Kim Yeona stood in the center of the room coordinating the massive defensive network. She was a small woman with short black hair and eyes that missed nothing. Captain Kim looked at the tactical displays showing the approaching Corvan reinforcements. The alien empire had sent their second wave with even more ships than before. They clearly thought that overwhelming numbers would win the day. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Captain Kim pressed the activation button that she had waited years to use. All across the asteroid belt, hidden bases began to power up their weapons systems. What the aliens thought was empty space suddenly came alive with deadly purpose. Lee Min-ho watched his engineering masterpiece come to life. Asteroids that had floated motionless for millions of years suddenly began to move. Their rocky surfaces split open to reveal massive weapon installations and ship-launching bays. The Corvan fleet commander Admiral Zextul was studying his tactical screens when his sensors operator made a confused report. The asteroids around them were moving in impossible ways. Solid chunks of rock were changing course and accelerating toward his fleet. Admiral Zextul ordered his science officer to explain what was happening. The alien scientist studied his instruments with growing confusion. According to his readings, the asteroids were not asteroids at all. They were massive artificial constructions disguised to look like natural rocks. The first asteroid opened like a flower blooming in fast motion. Its rocky exterior split into sections that folded back to reveal a weapon platform bigger than most space stations. The massive railgun in its center was already charging up with enough power to punch holes through planets. Captain Kim Yeona smiled grimly as she watched the alien fleet realize their situation. The humans had turned their entire asteroid belt into a fortress network. Every significant piece of rock contained weapons or ships or both. More asteroids began to open around the alien fleet. Some revealed launching bays that released swarms of fighter craft. Others showed weapon platforms with enough firepower to destroy capital ships. The largest asteroids contained facilities that could build new ships and weapons even during battle. The Corvan fleet found themselves surrounded by hundreds of hidden bases that had been waiting for this moment. Admiral Zextul watched in horror. as his tactical display filled with red enemy contacts. They had flown directly into the largest trap in galactic history. Engineer Lee Min-ho took control of Asteroid Base 12, which contained his personal project. He had spent 5 years converting the massive rock into a mobile weapons platform. The asteroid was 3 kilometers wide and packed with enough explosives to crack a moon. Lee Min-ho had volunteered for a suicide mission. His asteroid base was designed to ram directly into the enemy flagship, while its weapons fired continuously. It would be a one-way trip, but it would take out the alien command structure. The engineer watched his screens as his converted asteroid accelerated toward the massive Corvin command ship. The alien vessel was trying to retreat, but it was too slow and too big to escape in time. Captain Kim coordinated the attack from her command center deep inside the largest asteroid base. Her tactical display showed hundreds of human positions, firing on the confused alien fleet. The Corvins had expected to fight a few dozen human ships. Instead, they faced an entire solar system that had been converted into a weapon. Choi Dae-hyun was a mining engineer who had spent most of his life working in the asteroid belt. He knew every rock and every hidden base in the network. When the Yadur attack began, he volunteered to pilot one of the mobile asteroids in a direct assault on the enemy. Choi Dae-hyun sat in his control chair as his asteroid base accelerated toward a cluster of enemy ships. His weapons fired continuously as he approached, sending streams of metal projectiles into the alien vessels. Each shot penetrated their shields and tore through their hulls. The Corvin crews could not understand what was happening to them. They were being attacked by rocks that moved like ships and fought like battle stations. Their advanced technology seemed useless against these primitive but effective human weapons. Lee Min-ho's asteroid struck the alien flagship with the force of a small moon. The explosion lit up the entire asteroid belt as both vessels were destroyed in a massive fireball. But the sacrifice was worth it. The alien command structure was gone, and their fleet coordination collapsed. Captain Kim watched the battle from her command center as her network of asteroid bases systematically destroyed the second Corvin fleet. The aliens tried to retreat but found that they were surrounded on all sides by hidden human positions. The asteroid bases fired their weapons in coordinated volleys that overwhelmed the alien defenses. Streams of metal projectiles and nuclear missiles filled the space between the asteroids. Every shot was carefully aimed to maximize damage while conserving ammunition. Choi Dae-hyun piloted his mobile asteroid through the heart of the enemy formation. His weapons carved through alien ships like a hot knife through butter. The rocky exterior of his base was scarred by enemy fire, but the armor held against their energy weapons. The mining engineer had spent years learning how to move massive chunks of rock through space. Now he used those skills to turn his asteroid into a weapon of war. He rammed smaller enemy ships and used his asteroid's mass to crush their hulls. Admiral Zexthul tried desperately to organize a retreat, but his fleet was trapped in the asteroid field. Everywhere he looked, there were more hidden human bases revealing themselves and opening fire. His ships were being destroyed faster than he could count them. The alien admiral finally realized that the humans had been planning this battle for decades. Every asteroid had been carefully positioned and armed. The entire belt was one massive weapon system designed to destroy any fleet that entered it. Captain Kim received reports from all across the defensive network. Her asteroid bases were performing exactly as designed. The enemy fleet was being systematically dismantled by weapons that they could not even see, until it was too late to avoid them. The battle lasted 6 hours, but the outcome was never in doubt. The human asteroid network destroyed over 8,000 alien ships while losing only 12 of their own bases. The surviving Corvin vessels fled the solar system in complete panic. Lee Min-ho's sacrifice had eliminated the enemy command structure, while Choi Dae-hyun's mobile asteroid assault had broken their battle formation. Captain Kim's coordination had turned the asteroid belt into a killing ground that no alien fleet could survive. The aliens sent desperate messages to their homeworlds, warning them about humanity's impossible defensive capabilities. They reported that the humans had turned their entire solar system into a fortress, and that any attack would result in complete destruction. The second phase of humanity's plan was complete. The galaxy was beginning to understand that Earth was not a target to be conquered, but a fortress that could not be taken. Admiral Han Soo-young stood on the bridge of the massive carrier New Busan and watched the reports coming in from the inner system. The preliminary battles had gone exactly as planned. The alien fleets had been destroyed by the patrol ships and asteroid defenses while the real human fleet remained hidden. The New Busan was enormous even by human standards. It was 5 kilometers long and carried enough fighters and bombers to destroy entire planets. But it was just one ship in a fleet of 800 vessels that had been hiding behind Jupiter's moons for the past decade. Admiral Han had been preparing for this moment her entire career. She was a tall woman with graying hair and eyes that had seen too many battles. But she had never commanded anything like the fleet that surrounded her now. Dr. Yoon Tae-hyung worked frantically in the New Busan's main laboratory as the fleet prepared to reveal itself. He was the chief weapons designer for humanity's secret military project. For 15 years he had studied captured alien technology and found ways to improve upon it. The scientist had reverse-engineered alien shield generators and made them twice as efficient. He had taken their energy weapons and increased their power output by 300%. Most importantly, he had learned how alien faster-than-light travel worked and built human ships that could outrun anything in the galaxy. Chief Navigator Oh Ji-soo sat at her station plotting courses for the entire fleet. She had mapped every hyperspace route that the aliens used and found ways to intercept them at any point. Her navigation computers contained detailed information about every alien ship design and their tactical weaknesses. Oh Ji-soo had spent years capturing alien scout ships and interrogating their crews. She knew exactly how fast each type of enemy vessel could travel and what weapons they carried. This intelligence would give the human fleet a decisive advantage in the coming battle. The alien long-range sensors finally detected the massive energy signatures coming from Jupiter's orbit. Panic spread through the surviving Corvan ships as they realized that the battles they had fought so far were just warm-up exercises. Admiral Han received confirmation that all 800 ships in her fleet were ready for combat. Each vessel had been built in secret shipyards hidden throughout the outer solar system. The aliens had never suspected that humans possessed this level of industrial capability. The human fleet began to move out from behind Jupiter's massive bulk. The alien sensors registered energy readings that were completely off their charts. Each human ship generated more power than entire alien battle groups. Dr. Yoon Tae-hyung monitored his weapon systems as they came online throughout the fleet. Every human ship carried weapons that he had personally designed and tested. They used principles that alien science had never discovered and materials that did not exist anywhere else in the galaxy. The weapons scientist had spent years studying how different alien species built their ships and armor. He had found weaknesses in every design and created weapons specifically designed to exploit those flaws. The coming battle would test all of his theories at once. Chief Navigator Oh Ji-soo coordinated the fleet movement as 800 human warships began their approach toward the inner system. Each ship knew exactly where to go and what targets to engage. There would be no confusion or wasted effort in this attack. The Corvan survivors sent frantic messages to their homeworlds describing the approaching human fleet. Their reports made no sense to the alien leadership. How could a primitive species build ships larger and more powerful than anything in the Corvan Empire? Admiral Han opened a communication channel to address her entire fleet. Her voice carried the authority of someone who had waited decades for this moment. Every human crew member listened as their admiral gave them their final orders. "Today we show the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of," she said calmly. "These aliens thought we were primitive and weak. They are about to learn how wrong they were." The human fleet spread out into attack formation as they approached the inner system. Each ship took its assigned position in a pattern that had been practiced hundreds of times in secret exercises. The aliens would face a coordinated assault unlike anything they had ever seen. Dr. Yoon Tae-hyung activated his most advanced weapon systems as the fleet prepared for battle. His ships carried weapons that could punch through alien shields like they were made of tissue paper. The energy output of a single human battleship exceeded that of an entire alien fleet. The scientist had also developed new types of armor that could absorb and redirect energy weapons. Human ships would be nearly invulnerable to alien attacks, while their own weapons would devastate anything they targeted. Chief Navigator Ojisu guided the fleet through hyperspace routes that would bring them out right in the middle of the surviving alien forces. The enemy would have no time to prepare or retreat when the human fleet arrived. The navigation officer had calculated the timing perfectly. The human fleet would emerge from hyperspace just as the aliens were trying to regroup after their defeats in the inner system. They would be caught completely off guard. Admiral Han watched her tactical displays as the fleet prepared to drop out of hyperspace. In 30 seconds, the galaxy would see humanity's true military power for the first time. The preliminary battles had been just a demonstration compared to what was coming. The new Busan and its escort fleet materialized in normal space with a flash of exotic energy. The alien sensors immediately detected the massive human ships and began calculating their power outputs. The readings were so high that many alien computers assumed they were malfunctioning. 800 human warships appeared simultaneously throughout the inner system. Each one was larger and more heavily armed than the biggest alien battleships. The combined firepower of the human fleet exceeded anything that had ever existed in galactic history. Dr. Yoon Tae-hyung smiled with satisfaction as his weapon systems came online. Every theory he had developed about alien technology was about to be tested in real combat. He was confident that human science had surpassed anything the galaxy had seen before. Chief Navigator Ojisu confirmed that all ships had arrived at their designated positions. The alien fleet was completely surrounded and outgunned by a factor of 10 to 1. There would be no escape from the trap that had been so carefully prepared. Admiral Han looked at the tactical display showing the positions of both fleets. The aliens were clustered together in a defensive formation that would make them easy targets for her weapons. They clearly had no idea how to fight against human military doctrine. The Admiral opened a communication channel to the alien fleet commander. Her words were heard by every surviving alien crew member as she delivered humanity's ultimatum. "You have attacked our home system and killed our people," she said in a voice like cold steel. "Surrender immediately or be destroyed. This is your only warning." The alien response was exactly what Admiral Han expected. Their pride would not allow them to surrender to what they still considered a primitive species. They would fight to the end rather than admit that humans were superior. Admiral Han smiled grimly and gave the order that would change galactic history forever. "All ships," she said calmly. "Fire at will." The human fleet opened fire with weapons that the aliens had never seen before. The real battle was about to begin. Communications Officer Kang Hyejin sat at her station aboard the human command ship and prepared to unleash humanity's most devastating weapon. She did not carry guns or missiles. Instead, she carried information that would destroy the alien fleet more effectively than any physical weapon. Kang Hyejin had spent years studying alien psychology and communication systems. She knew exactly how to get inside their heads and make them afraid. Fear was often more powerful than any bomb when used correctly. The communications officer opened channels to every alien ship in the surrounding fleets. Her broadcast would reach not just the Corvan Empire, but also the 12 other alien species that were watching this battle from a distance. "Attention alien forces," she began in a calm, professional voice. "We are transmitting detailed tactical analysis of your performance in the recent battles. Please review the attached data carefully." What followed was the most humiliating intelligence report in galactic history. Kang Hyejin transmitted exact details about every weakness the humans had discovered in alien technology and tactics. The report showed how human kinetic weapons cut through alien energy shields by using frequency disruption patterns that the aliens had never considered. It explained why alien armor was useless against human nuclear weapons due to fundamental flaws in their metallurgy. Most devastating of all, the report contained detailed predictions about alien battle formations and tactical responses. It showed that human computers could predict alien movements with 97% accuracy because their tactics were so predictable. Special Forces Commander Lim Jae-sung received his orders to begin boarding operations against disabled alien vessels. His mission was not to capture the ships, but to gather intelligence and leave evidence of human capabilities that would terrify the alien crews. Commander Lim led a team of 50 Special Forces soldiers who had trained for years in zero-gravity combat. Each soldier carried weapons and equipment that were far more advanced than anything the aliens possessed. The first alien ship they boarded was a Corvan cruiser that had been crippled by human weapons. The alien crew huddled in their emergency shelters expecting to be killed by primitive human savages. Instead, they found themselves facing soldiers who moved through their ship like ghosts. The humans seemed to know the layout of alien vessels better than the crews who had served on them for years. Commander Lim's soldiers planted monitoring devices throughout the alien ship while downloading every piece of data from their computers. They also left behind examples of human technology that the aliens could examine, but never hoped to understand. The psychological impact was immediate and devastating. The alien crew members whispered in terror about humans who could walk through walls and disappeared like smoke when pursued. Reality was actually much simpler, but no less impressive. Kang Hyejin received reports from the boarding teams and incorporated their findings into her next broadcast. She transmitted detailed specifications of alien ship designs along with explanations of how humans would destroy each type of vessel. The communications officer made sure that every alien ship could see the tactical data about their own weaknesses. She wanted them to understand exactly how helpless they were against human military technology. Your energy weapons operate at frequencies between 2.4 and 2.8 terahertz, she broadcast calmly. Our shield generators automatically adjust to negate any weapon in that range. Your weapons literally cannot hurt our ships. The aliens checked their instruments and confirmed that the human information was completely accurate. Their most powerful weapons were indeed operating at frequencies that human shields could easily deflect. Commander Lim moved to his second target, which was a larger alien battleship. His soldiers encountered their first resistance from alien marines who tried to defend their vessel. The battle was over in minutes. Human weapons and armor were so superior that the alien defenders could not even damage the attacking soldiers. The humans moved through the ship, systematically capturing or eliminating all resistance. The alien survivors were left alive deliberately so they could report what they had seen to their commanders. Commander Lim wanted stories about human capabilities to spread through the alien fleets. Kang Hyejin continued her psychological assault with broadcasts that revealed more and more human advantages. She explained how human sensors could detect alien ships at ranges far beyond what alien technology could achieve. Your stealth systems rely on electromagnetic dampening fields, she transmitted to the alien fleets. Human gravitational sensors can detect the mass of your ships regardless of any electromagnetic countermeasures you employ. The aliens realized with growing horror that their stealth technology was completely useless against human detection systems. Ships that they thought were hidden had been tracked by human sensors from the moment they entered the solar system. Commander Lim's teams boarded dozens of disabled alien vessels throughout the battle zone. Each boarding operation gathered more intelligence while demonstrating human superiority in personal combat. The Special Forces soldiers encountered different alien species on each ship they boarded. Humans adapted their tactics instantly to counter each type of opponent. The aliens began to believe that humans were unstoppable in any type of combat. Kang Hyejin received psychological profiles of each alien species from the intelligence gathered during the boarding operations. She tailored her broadcasts to exploit the specific fears and weaknesses of each race. To the Corvan Empire, she broadcast detailed casualty reports showing how many of their ships and crews had been destroyed in each battle. The numbers were staggering and completely demoralized their remaining forces. To other alien species watching the battle, she transmitted different messages. She showed them exactly what would happen if they tried to attack human territory. The demonstrations were clear and terrifying. Commander Lim's soldiers found evidence of other alien civilizations planning attacks on Earth. The information was transmitted immediately to Kang Hyejin, who incorporated it into her psychological warfare campaign. The communications officer broadcast the intercepted alien communications to prove that humans knew about every enemy plan before it was executed. The aliens realized that their security was completely compromised. Your species have been planning coordinated attacks on our system for the past 2 years, she transmitted calmly. We have detailed records of every meeting and every decision made by your leadership councils. The alien commanders checked their own communication logs and found that the human information was completely accurate. Somehow, the humans had been monitoring their most secure channels for years. Kang Hyejin then revealed the most devastating information of all. She broadcast detailed technical specifications of advanced human weapons that had not yet been used in battle. The weapons she described were so far beyond alien technology that many alien scientists refused to believe they were possible, but the technical data was too detailed and accurate to be a fabrication. You have now seen our patrol fleets and our defensive installations, she transmitted to the terrified alien forces. You have not yet seen our main battle fleet or our most advanced weapon systems. The psychological effect was exactly what she intended. Panic spread through the alien fleets as they realized that everything they had faced so far was just a small sample of human military capabilities. Commander Lim completed his boarding operations and transmitted his final reports. The intelligence gathered from alien ships confirmed that human technology was decades ahead of anything in the galaxy. Morale collapsed among the alien forces as rumors spread about humans who fought like demons and possessed weapons that could destroy planets. The truth was impressive enough without exaggeration, but fear made the stories even more terrifying. Kang Hyejin prepared her final psychological broadcast as she watched alien ships beginning to surrender across the battle zone. Her campaign of information warfare had succeeded beyond all expectations. The aliens now understood that they were not facing a primitive species, but apex predators who had been preparing for galactic war longer than most alien civilizations had existed. The fourth phase of humanity's plan was complete. The enemy's will to fight had been completely destroyed. Captain Bae Sungmin stood on the bridge of the advanced destroyer Daegu Lightning as his sensors detected something that changed everything. Massive hyperspace signatures were approaching from the edge of the solar system. The energy readings were unlike anything that had been seen in the battle so far. Captain Bae had served in the human fleet for 15 years, but he had never seen energy signatures this large. His tactical computer calculated the size of the approaching vessels, and the results made him check his instruments twice to make sure they were working correctly. 36 objects were approaching through hyperspace, and each one was generating more energy than entire alien battle fleets. The computer identified them as human dreadnoughts, but their size was beyond anything that should have been possible to build. Captain Bae opened an emergency channel to Admiral Han Soo-young aboard the new Busan. His report would change the course of the entire battle and possibly the future of galactic civilization. "Admiral, the Dreadnought fleet is approaching," he said with excitement in his voice. "All 36 ships are on schedule and their power readings are off the charts." The human dreadnoughts had been built in absolute secrecy in shipyards hidden in the Kuiper Belt. For 20 years, humanity's best engineers and scientists had worked on these vessels without the galaxy knowing they existed. Each dreadnought was 8 kilometers long and carried enough firepower to destroy small moons. They were the ultimate expression of human military technology and represented capabilities that no other species in the galaxy possessed. Fleet Commander Park Ji-woo had been transferred from his cruiser to the lead dreadnought Incheon's Wrath when the massive ships began their approach. Standing on its bridge was like being inside a floating city dedicated entirely to warfare. The dreadnought's main weapons were gravitational disruptors that could literally tear planets apart by manipulating space-time itself. Secondary weapons included nova cannons that fired concentrated star plasma and quantum torpedoes that could phase through any known armor. Park Ji-woo looked at the tactical displays showing the positions of the surviving alien fleets. The enemy forces were still substantial despite their losses, but they were about to face weapons that could end the war in minutes. The fleet commander opened a communication channel that reached every alien ship in the solar system. His words would be remembered as the moment when the balance of galactic power shifted permanently toward humanity. "Attention all alien forces," he said in a calm voice that carried absolute authority. "This is your final warning. Surrender immediately, or face complete annihilation when our dreadnought fleet arrives." The alien commanders who received this message initially dismissed it as another human bluff. They had already been surprised by human capabilities several times, but they could not believe that any species could build weapons as powerful as the humans claimed. Admiral Zexthol of the surviving Corvin forces studied his long-range sensors and confirmed that massive objects were indeed approaching. But his science officers insisted that ships of that size were impossible to build or operate. The alien admiral decided to call what he thought was a human bluff. He ordered his remaining ships to prepare for one final assault on the human fleet. If he could destroy enough human vessels quickly, the approaching dreadnoughts might retreat rather than face his combined firepower. Captain Bae Seungmin watched the alien fleet begin to move into attack formation. His destroyer was positioned to intercept any alien ships that tried to escape when the dreadnoughts arrived. He did not expect there would be many survivors. The first dreadnought dropped out of hyperspace with a flash of exotic energy that lit up the entire solar system. The Ancient's wrath materialized in normal space like a dark mountain floating among the stars. The alien sensors immediately registered the massive human vessel and began calculating its power output. The readings were so high that most alien computers shut down to prevent damage from the energy feedback. More dreadnoughts continued to arrive until all 36 vessels had taken their positions around the solar system. Each one was larger than the biggest alien space stations and carried more weapons than entire alien battle fleets. Park Ji-woo stood on the bridge of his dreadnought and surveyed the tactical situation. The alien forces looked tiny compared to the massive human vessels surrounding them. The psychological impact of the dreadnought's arrival was already having its intended effect. Several smaller alien ships immediately signaled their surrender when they saw the human dreadnoughts. Their crews understood that resistance against such massive vessels would be completely pointless, but the Corvin leadership refused to believe what their sensors were telling them. They ordered their forces to continue the attack despite the obvious futility of fighting against the dreadnoughts. Admiral Zexthol commanded his fleet to open fire on the nearest human dreadnought with every weapon they possessed. Thousands of energy beams and missiles struck the massive vessel's shields in a display of firepower that should have destroyed any normal ship. The human dreadnought absorbed the entire alien attack without even registering damage on its tactical displays. The vessel's shields were designed to withstand the energy output of stars, and the alien weapons were barely noticeable. Park Ji-woo decided to demonstrate the true power of his dreadnoughts by conducting weapon tests on several uninhabited moons. He wanted the aliens to see exactly what would happen to them if they continued to resist. The fleet commander selected a moon that was similar in size to most alien planets. His dreadnought's main gravitational disruptor charged up with enough power to affect local spacetime. When the weapon fired, it created a localized distortion in reality itself. The target moon was stretched and compressed by gravitational forces that turned solid rock into plasma. In seconds, an entire world was reduced to glowing debris. The alien fleets watched in complete horror as the human weapon literally tore apart a planetary body. They had never seen technology that could manipulate the fundamental forces of the universe. Captain Bae observed the alien reaction from his destroyer as panic spread through their formations. Many alien ships were already powering down their weapons and broadcasting surrender signals. Park Ji-woo ordered additional weapon demonstrations using different types of dreadnought armaments. Nova cannons turned asteroids into expanding clouds of starfire, while quantum torpedoes phased through solid matter and exploded inside their targets. Each demonstration showed the aliens a different way that human technology could destroy them. The message was clear and unmistakable. The battle ends not with the dreadnoughts firing their planet-killing weapons, but with the complete surrender of the Corvin Empire when they witnessed the ship's true capabilities during weapon tests on empty moons. Admiral Han Soo-young leads the post-battle negotiations from her flagship, dictating terms to the stunned alien leadership. Diplomat Shin Mi-jung works to establish humanity's place in galactic politics, making it clear that Earth will not be conquered or ignored. The Corvin Empire, along with 12 other alien civilizations, formally recognizes humanity as the new dominant military power in their sector of the galaxy. The story concludes with engineer Lee Min-ho and Dr. Yoon Tae-hyung beginning work on BIA, even more advanced weapon systems, while Fleet Commander Park Ji-woo establishes the first human military bases on alien worlds. The final scene shows alien ambassadors arriving at Earth, not as conquerors but as supplicants, seeking trade agreements and military protection from the species they had dismissed as primitive. The galaxy has learned a crucial lesson. Never underestimate humanity's capacity for preparation, innovation, and overwhelming response to threats.